Hi, my name is Marbella Lopez and I'm going to be reciting my essay, The Monstrous Acts of Beowulfs Monsters. When people think of monsters, we think of those parents used to reassure us weren't underneath our bed. As most adults know, there is no such thing as monsters, therefore they do not exist. They are creatures merely made of our imagination. The monsters in the epic poem of Beowulf, translated by Simius Heaney, are not existent but fictitious creatures. The characters in Beowulf, such as Grendel and Grendel's mother, can be seen as monsters based on the written evidence the text provides. The monsters present a sort of monstrous evil that makes them frightening to those around, roaming the earth inflicting fear, devastation, and causing death to others. In this essay, I will prove why Grendel and Grendel's mother are monstrous to the world in which they live in, incapable of having even one human characteristic in their monstrous body. The first monster Beowulf fights is an outcast in the city of Hera, unaccepted by society because of his unearthly looks. Although banished to the swamplands, he still longs for acceptance of those around him. Grendel is an extremely evil monster, as described in the poem. A fiend out of hell began to work his evil in the world. Grendel was the name of this grim demon haunting the marches, martyring around the heath of the desolate fens. He had dwelt for a time in misery among the banished monsters. Throughout the poem, he is constantly referred to as a demon, seen as a monstrous-like thing. Jeffrey Cohen, in particular, studies monsters in his essay, Monster Culture. That raises the question of what makes a monster monstrous. Like Cohen states, it is a refusal to participate in the order of things. The order of things is true of monsters generally, questioning what exactly is considered to be a monster. Monsters are always categorized as dangerous because of their difference to humans, engaging into the opposite of what is considered to be the norm. Cohen says, the monster is an incorporation of the outside, the beyond of all those loci that are rhetorical, based as distant and distinct by originate within. Monsters are disturbed hybrids, dangerous, a form suspended between forms that threaten to smash distinctions. Rebelling against the law of nature, therefore, can't be captured and only revolt against the rules. In the fight between Beowulf and Grendel, Beowulf succeeds in ripping off Grendel's arm. Grendel, injured, runs back to the swamplands, leaving his arm behind. Like Cohen states, the monster always escapes to return to its habitation and at the margin of the world. Grendel instantly runs back to his normal habitats. The fact that Grendel flees from the scene, leaving behind an arm, points to one specific monstrous characteristic. Monsters always leave behind a remnant that makes people quiver and feel uneasy, questioning their death. To people, a monster leaving a remnant is beyond the known, and Grendel leaves the people of Hera with one question in mind, on whether he'll be back to attack. While many view Grendel and Grendel's mother as monsters with characteristics that are out of the ordinary, there is evidence behind every study of Grendel and Grendel's mother's monstrous acts. One critique in particular says otherwise, claiming that the monsters in Beowulf are not reflections of monsters, but reflect identities of humans. Paul S. Langslag, in his essay Monstrous Landscape in Beowulf, talks about the differences between monsters and human identity, arguing that the monsters in the poem are reflected more as humans rather than monsters. Langslag states that Grendel and Grendel's mother know how to experience fear. He was desperate to flee to his den and hide with the devil's litter, claiming that fear is a feeling that humans mainly experience. For example, when Grendel, frightened by having his arm ripped off during the fight against Beowulf, only wanted to run in the opposite direction. Langslag says, moreover, Grendel knows fear, and both monsters flee in hope of saving their lives. Throughout her essay, she is stating that monsters cannot experience fear because of the fact that they are disturbed and don't think like humans. Grendel and Grendel's mother cannot be compared to the identity of humans because they don't behave like humans. They behave like savages. Humans don't feast on other humans or even animals in a savage-like way. There is a proper way to eat. Another view that Langslag points out is the fact that Grendel has a human name. He says, "A name of Grendel makes these creatures appear very human-like indeed." In today's society, and centuries before, we as humans have always given pets human names, and that for centuries we've always given monsters human names as well, reminding us that they are in fact real and they are capable of hurting us. Giving a monster a cute, soft name wouldn't exactly make the monster seem threatening towards humans. It is much more realistic when the animal has a real name that also establishes the evil reality behind it. His essay has some interesting views, but I do not completely agree with him and his belief that monsters can carry the identity of humans. Monsters are monsters and have those characteristics of savages, which in no moment make them human-like. For example, tigers and lions are killer animals set at the top of the food chain, yet they are not monsters. These wildlife animals know fear and avoid being killed, but they are animals and in no absolute way close to having a human identity. Grendel's mother is oftentimes overlooked as a monster and is rarely compared to the monstrosity that Grendel is, but they are equally savage killers. The only difference is that Grendel killed out of spite and found inflicting pain on others to be enjoyable. Grendel's mother, on the contrary, killed for a reason. She was out to avenge her son's death, regardless of the motive behind her actions, whether she did it for revenge or spitefulness. The manner in which she did it was monstrous and evil. The way in which she avenged her son seemed inhuman, reflecting her son Grendel's ways. Grendel's mother, like Grendel, shows no remorse for the crimes they have committed and take joy in the ones to come. Like Alexandra Hennessy Olsen mentions in her essay Gender Roles, Grendel's mother is interpreted as inhuman, a beast, but more often a monster or demon. Grendel's mother falls under those characteristics of a monster because of her beastie and demon-like ways. M. Wendy Hennikin says in her essay, "We've created a monster, the stranger case of Grendel's mothers. Her prowess often goes unnoticed or minimized, possibly because of the critical perception of Anglo-Saxon women as peace weavers. Because she is a woman, many times she is not thought to be as powerful and dangerous as a male monster. She's overlooked by critiques." Grendel's mother is seen as a weak or ineffective monster, which is believed that the opponents don't feel frightened with Grendel's mother as if it were to be a man. Yet it seems ironic in a sense that no one takes into account that Grendel's mother happens to kill many men before the great warrior Beowulf defeats her, making her just as dangerous as any other monster. Ruth Waterhouse argues in her essay Beowulf a pamphlet that one of the key characteristics that classifies something as monstrous is a society and culture in which they reside. In Beowulf, the people of Heorot think of Grendel and Grendel's mother as different, making it difficult for the community to accept them because to people they weren't normal. Their figures were unacceptable to those around, categorized by many as monsters, demons, something out of this world. Waterhouse makes note of one major factor that makes Grendel and Grendel's mother monstrous and different to your average bear or lion. Like she quotes, "For instance, cruelty and wickedness are not necessarily applicable to animals like the original King Kong, who lacks moral awareness and whose behavior is appropriate to their non-human status. The definitions stress that monsters are other, as contrasted with the subjectively of self that classes them as alien in some way." Waterhouse points out that Grendel is in fact a monster because of the mysterious way he's been presented throughout the poem, with the very vague description readers are left with. The poem of Beowulf reflects on its society and culture and the way that their society reacted to the monsters. Grendel has always been and will be a destroyer of humanity. Many readers and critiques have tried over and over to humanize Grendel. Unfortunately for those critiques, there is a line between the good and the evil, those who are human and those who are inhuman. For example, monsters. Through Grendel we see what is considered to be monstrous. Grendel, for example, viciously feasting on the people of Heorot.